Okay, we couldn't find a video on YouTube about how to put together a Triax female or male connector. These are all your parts that you actually have. These are actually chassis mounts, so you'll see that nut and ring that he just laid down. We won't go through all the parts names individually, but you'll see how it goes together as we go on with the video. Right here, we made a little gauge signifying the different cut lengths that we need to take off during the put together process. I believe the measurements are 1 inch and a 32nd total, and then a measurement of 5/16, 9/32, and then an 1/8 inch measurement. Now we are crimping these, we're not soldering it, so here we go. Make sure if you're using chassis mounts to slide that nut over, and you'll notice who lines it up. Just take a razor blade, cut around. Try not to cut too deep. If you cut into it a little bit and a few of the shield hairs come off, so be it, but it's pretty important that you want to make sure to have a majority of all that. Okay, now we'll go on with the wire nut and the sleeve first. The next two parts are the small flat washer and the gasket. You'll notice that the gasket has a little groove in it that will go towards the end of the wire. The next two parts to go on are the actual, I don't know what you call that, the what have we been calling that, Ben?
It's the ground piece.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It's on that page.
I've sat there and been saying it over and over and over. The essentially all it is a sleeve and a. But anyway, what you'll notice what he just done, because we just skipped over all that. He put the first piece on, and then spread out all the ground wires around it. Then slid over the ring and is trimming off the access around. It's just the retainer ring for the first shield. Next part to go on is the fat washer, which will cover the braid like so. And that's what the end process will look like for that step. Now, what we've been doing is just marking it out, holding our thumbnail against it and going around with the razor blade. Seems to be the best. After you get to doing 15 or 20 of them, if it's you'll be doing it pretty quickly. The first two are the first one's tough for sure, but after you do a few, it's not that bad. It's really just this process. He's spreading the braid back after that, and this part will actually be cut off. You will cut one more time, and that will be the second shield connection. And this is on site, folks, so forgive us. We just want to make sure that other people have a way to see how to do this, because our first ones were done off of a paper instructions, and believe me, it was tough. Do your 1/8 inch cut real quick. Now, this part right here, you're cutting an 1/8 inch off of the dielectric itself. This is just to expose the center conductor, and then we will crimp on the actual. We'll crimp on the nipple itself, and we will go over the difference as far as what it looks like. Now he's going 9/32 back from that first initial cut. He'll strip it once more. Do that little thing that I showed you. That seems to make it easier. If you'll make a single cut up, making sure not to cut into the dielectric, that peels off fairly easily. Okay. Now we will crimp on the center conductor point of contact. We're using a King's crimp tool. So it crimps pretty nicely. It's a little hexagon crimp tool. This is actually what it looks like. Now, you will go on with the next crimp ring. At this point, it will slide completely down, and you'll just let it fly for right now. Now you'll spread out the second shield. Now it's important on this next part, it only goes on really one way, but you'll notice that one side has some grooves in it and it's split. It's meant to be crimped too. That's a slide that goes down towards the retaining washer. You'll slide it down, ensuring that it's going underneath the actual shield wires, and then you will slide that collar up, and it will basically be the crimped surface, and this is what crimps the second shield in place. Alright, that's essentially the finished product minus the actual connector itself. Now you will want, if you're using a panel of some sort, you will want to now at this point go through the whole of the panel and then slide this on from the front side, because if you do not and you have to pull this thing back off, you'll run into problems. This collar here will slip back, and it's a pain in the butt to do anything about those shield wires. We will say that after you put this on, this part tightens down into this. You'll notice the threads. It calls for 70 inch-pounds of force, which equates to 5.83 foot-pounds of torque. We used a small calculator to get that measurement, so it's basically divided by 12 to get inch-pounds into foot-pounds. You do not want to tighten it down too much. You will split that washer in half.
You can feel it
Yeah,
start to
and you
snug
can
up.
feel it start to snug up. It's really not much force at all. The reason why I say that, a lot of guys know what foot pounds feel like, but inch pounds are, not used very often. But at this point, we will slide that through our plate, and I will show you how to put this on. Okay, Ben, if you can come around here. Either hold it or you'll just slide this on like so. It will push up in there. Then you'll take this and it'll just thread in. Now, it says that you have to have a couple different wrench sizes to tighten up on this, but I always hold this by hand because so not to over tighten it. It's really not very much force at all.
70 inch-pounds right here.
Yeah, 70 inch-pounds there, which is the 5.83 pounds, foot-pounds of torque that we were talking about. At which point this goes on last. This is what actually cinches down on the jacket of the wire. Now this you will have to have another wrench for. We just use a crescent wrench. And tighten up on it. That was actually pretty tight. Is it? But that's the basic process, guys. This slides up into a plate if you're using a plate. If not, then it's an inline connector, but it's the same way. The retaining nut will go on at this point, and that's it. Like I said, we just made this because we couldn't find one, and we appreciate it.